Many people, very many, even those who say they don't think so, actually believe that almost everything in this life depends on money, that money is the most important thing a person needs in life. And every day of their life proves to them the correctness of their views, because in the lives of most people it is really money that decides everything, and not something else, at least it seems so to them. However, in reality, the role of money in our lives is not that great, and if you think even more thoroughly about its significance for us, then it is insignificant, for the simple reason that in order for money to work, people must believe in it. And in order for people to believe in something or someone, they must, let's say, be a little ignorant, because faith fills exactly that space in our brain, and if you like, in our soul, in which there is no understanding of the essence of being. After all, when there is understanding, faith is not needed. In this article, we will try to understand what money gives to a person, and can a person get this something without money? You will probably ask yourself, why the hell do I need to ask myself such a question, if it is clear without any thought that without money you can't go anywhere, that no matter how much you talk, you still have to earn money, otherwise you simply won't survive in this world of money. That's true, but you will probably also agree that money in our world is distributed among people, well, not quite fairly, and you are clearly among those people who do too much for money and receive too little. And how is it that, my dear reader, you work, earn some money, and someone who is made of the same stuff as you, does not work or works, but little, but has a lot of money and buys people like you with this money, using your life energy for his own interests? And why do we, people, seeing that money is constantly changing its value, usually not in our favor, continue to serve, there is no other way to say it, those people who buy us with this money? Doesn't it seem to you that we are participating in some kind of senseless rat race, stupidly trying to survive and enjoy life, in the ways available to us, without seeing the whole picture of our life as a whole? Doesn't it seem to you that on a conceptual level, you and I do not understand something in this life, and perhaps, we do something at all, pursue certain goals, make certain decisions, in which there is no meaning for us, no meaning at all? Maybe everything that money gives us, we can take without any money, with the help of other methods? And maybe what we are used to taking for money, we do not need at all? In my opinion, these questions are more than enough for you, at least for the sake of interest, to decide to read this article to the end, because who knows, maybe you will rethink something in your life and thereby change it for the better for you. So, perhaps, we should ask ourselves the questions that I outlined above. After all, you and I are thinking people, not bleating sheep. So, money. Most of us have been told and continue to be told that money is made with great effort, that you have to toil for it, especially when it comes to big money. And in principle, this is true, but this is only one side of the coin, far from the only one and, in my opinion, not the most important. If you have read Karl Marx's Capital, then you understand that there are other sides to this issue, but I believe that you don't need to read anything special to understand that in order to have money, you don't have to work, even when it comes to big money. And in the context of our topic, we must say more. We must say that in order to live a normal life and have everything we need in it, we don't really need money itself. At the very least, we don't need money whose purchasing power is constantly declining, in which we cannot save our labor and which is obtained in very large quantities, not only by people who do not benefit society, but, on the contrary, harm it. How, tell me, are these damned pieces of paper different from beads, from those same ones that the Americans bought Manhattan for from the Indians? Well, okay, pieces of paper with American presidents are still more or less stable today, and our paper, in general, is not a bit better than toilet paper. So, are we, with our education, with all these internets, computers, iPhones, and other digital junk, smarter than the Indians? We sell our lives for beads, give away our life juices for constantly depreciating paper, while having the opportunity to act more intelligently, and the Indians did not really have a choice. They were exterminated without exception. They somehow had to come to an agreement with the white invaders. So no, friends, you can earn money by hard work and not by hard work. You don't have to work for it at all and still have a lot of it. That's not the point. The point is our level of development, at which we still can't do without money. What do money give a person, if you think about it? They allow him to cooperate with other people, right? We don't run around with axes and don't smash each other's heads, taking things we need from each other, like, for example, the Aborigines do in Australia. We work, produce, create the goods we need for life and then exchange them with each other using money. Well, and we provide each other with the services we need, of course, too. Now think about what prevents us, maybe not always and not in everything, but at least in what we can agree on, from starting to agree with each other without any money, or, let's say, from exchanging with each other using some of our own money, some of our own conventional values? Can we, purely theoretically, agree to consider shells, or something else, clay pots, or something else, as valuable? We can use anything as an instrument of exchange to conduct business with each other. Moreover, this conditional value will be valuable, no matter what stock exchange rates and other parasitic activities. We can do all this purely theoretically. So what prevents us from moving from theory to practice? The will of the strong, who will simply forbid us by force to settle accounts with each other in a way that is beneficial to us, excluding the use of his shitty money. In general, the strong can prevent us from conducting business with each other in the way we need, of course. But, having begun to conduct such an independent policy, and having extended it to the majority of people, we ourselves will acquire a force that cannot be ignored. After all, what is strength, brother, in money? The power is in the people, or rather, in the idea they believe in and serve. Without people, any king is not a king, but an empty space. So what is stopping us from living the way we want to live, more fairly, without keeping parasites on our necks, printing money for themselves in huge quantities, and devaluing our money along with our labor? We lack consciousness, my friends, consciousness, and therefore trust in each other. We are savages, unreasonable creatures. We, for the most part, use our brains not to think, but to remember some tricks once, learning them through force and then using them for the rest of our lives to make money. Those who learn and remember complex tricks well will receive a large ration. Those who learn simple tricks, and even somehow, will receive a small ration, or will not be in demand at all in the labor market. This is how we, rational beings, Homo sapiens, or whatever we are scientifically called, live. And this, as you can guess, is not a very practical life, and for it to become practical, including for ourselves, we must become more conscious, and therefore reasonable, disciplined, honest, benevolent. Man is a wolf to man, only in the wild world, to which capitalism, so we know, has only an indirect relation. For if it were so and only so, and in no other way, if only wolf laws operated in our society, then many capitalists would be promptly eaten by other capitalists, because weakness is a very relative concept. But this does not happen, therefore, the world lives by certain laws, which are observed and therefore it lives. And since other people live like this, by laws, then we can, or rather, could live like this, I mean those of us who are just to function in one big system that doesn't give a damn about each of us individually. But being wild creatures, we are not able to organize ourselves, to determine common rules of life for everyone without exception and to impeccably observe them. We want to parasitize on each other and suppress each other, and we do it. We do not want to live by laws, we want to break them. You were probably interested in my words at the beginning of the article about not having to work for money, because you clearly don't want to work for it, but want to have a lot of it just like that. And after that, you still want the world to be fair? Money organizes and disciplines us, and whoever controls this money, in fact, controls us, because we cannot control ourselves. And this means that money gives us the opportunity to live a more or less civilized life, in which people do not always have the opportunity to do everything they want to do. Money maintains order in our society, through the people who work for it. Money organizes the society in which we all live, and what this ordered society gives you personally, you are probably able to understand without me. But what's interesting is that the smarter people are, the less they need money as an intermediary in negotiations with each other. I often hear, mostly from journalists, that political will is needed for everything. It is needed here, it is needed there, downright, without political will, as without the will of God, nothing can be done. Isn't this too bold a comparison, people in suits, with God? But if there is no will, neither God's, nor political, nor any other, then what? Should we continue to sit and weave bast shoes, or should we somehow learn to help ourselves, looking for opportunities to influence this world, through influencing people, with the goal of making it better? Do you think that money actually gives you anything in this life? Nothing of the sort. You give yourself everything, or do not give something, when you act or do not act, and not money. Only when you are inactive, then other people, through money or force, encourage you to certain actions, and when you are active, then money and other people begin to fall under your control. The system, of course, does not need you to believe in yourself and be independent, it needs you to believe in money, which is subject to the will of other people. And these other people, will always be the winners, because it is you who obey their idea of money, and not yours. The reason that someone else, and not you and me, is the owner of the money invented by smart people is still the same. Most of us are savages, and the advanced minority is more organized and disciplined, which allows it to control the majority. Well, when you work for money like a mule, and accept all the conditions that the advanced minority imposes on you, why the hell should this minority work if you produce a large enough amount of goods not only to support yourself, but also to support them? In order not to work for money, someone else needs to work for them, because if no one works, then there won't be everything that we can buy for money. And since few people want to work, and everyone wants to eat like crazy, it is necessary to introduce rules according to which most people will be forced to work in order to live. You and I obey these rules, we obey the laws that are the will of the strong, and we are forced to obey these laws, no matter how unfair they may be, because we ourselves cannot invent any laws, because we, as you already know, are savages. Don't think that I'm suggesting that you live by the rules and generally arrange some kind of financial apocalypse to make the world fairer. Not at all. There will be other personalities for such things who will come into this world sooner or later. But it wouldn't hurt for us to reconsider some areas of our lives, each of us individually, for the sake of our own interests, and not necessarily for everyone, but for the sake of a single common goal. It is necessary to do this. What do I mean? Well, look, we all have certain priorities in life, built in such a way that we strive, as it seems to us, for the most important thing, to the detriment of less important things. This forces us to spend our energy in huge quantities and at the same time sacrifice something, for the sake of achieving certain goals, and to see the meaning of life in all this rat race. And what is this meaning of life for you? A new car, a new house, a promotion at work, a salary higher than your neighbor and friends, or maybe a new, shiny phone with a bunch of functions you don't need at all? Or maybe something else that the owner of your life allowed you to have? What do you exchange your life for? What does money give you personally, for which you sell your life? Pleasure? Maybe for this, we should bend over backwards to other people's rules and lick everyone's ass for money. Some people told me that I supposedly don't know how to live, don't know how to get the pleasure from life that money can give. They say I earn it, this money, but I don't know how to spend it. Can you imagine this? I don't know how to spend money, and I don't know how to get pleasure from life. What can some drunk and smoked moron know about pleasure, fucking third-rate females who have been used 1,000 times by anyone and anywhere? Or maybe I should buy branded beads from cunning puppeteers, so that I can brag about this junk to other underdeveloped primates and thus get pleasure? No, it's not a pleasure, and personally I'm not ready to pay for all this primitive stimulation of my base instincts. I'd rather buy with my money time, which I'll spend on changing my life for the better. Maybe you and I can't create our own rules, maybe we don't have enough brains to come up with our own money, but we can easily adapt to the existing rules in a way that's beneficial to us. We don't need chaos and revolutions, we need to asymmetrically resist the will of a strong minority and engage in our own development in order to join this minority, if possible. For this, we don't need money, but a fundamentally different, more perfect and practical way of thinking, capable of playing by the laws that exist up there, among the self-proclaimed gods. Does money give a person freedom? This so-called financial independence, what about it? Can it be purchased with money? In principle, it is possible, but not always, far from always. If a person has earned a lot of money and in order to maintain his income at a high level, he needs to constantly work hard, no matter who and where, then what kind of independence is this? What kind of freedom is this? Working hard all day long is not freedom. You never know what ration you work for. This is not an indicator of freedom. You'd better pay attention to your employment. How many hours a day can you spend on yourself? In addition, in some cases, a person who has joined the club of rich and successful people takes on certain obligations associated with membership in this club. You can see for yourself how some politicians, no matter what high positions they hold, are forced to work on some tasks and sort out various matters all day long. They cannot afford to lie on the couch all day long. Therefore, you should not draw yourself a heavenly life, the road to which is paved with money. Being rich is undoubtedly better than being poor, but moving away from one dependence, a rich person comes to another dependence, and therefore such concepts as freedom and independence, in different cases have different definitions. For someone, freedom and independence, provided by money, is the opportunity not to work for the man, and for someone it is the opportunity not to obey the laws, at least most of them. Undoubtedly, forcing people to obey your laws, and yourself to live by other, more beneficial for you laws, is much better, much more pleasant. And for this it is worth striving for money. A rich person can afford much more than a poor one. This is natural, but perhaps not a single person on earth can afford absolutely everything he wants. Any power, no matter what it is, has its limitations. And money cannot always solve the problems that a person has. People in power may have as much money as they want, but they can't buy everything for it, because not everyone and everything will agree to sell to them for their money. And not everything can be bought at all, no matter how much money. And returning to the topic of freedom and independence, we should remember some oligarchs, very rich oligarchs, who had a lot of money, but it did not help them preserve the power and freedom they had. So you can't always buy freedom for money, and not from everyone. The most important thing that, in my opinion, money gives a person, and what I personally acquired when I began to earn more or less decently, is opportunities. And I am not talking about the opportunity to earn even more money, or about the opportunity to go wild in Courchevel. I am talking about the opportunity to realize yourself in this life. I am talking about the need of a person to become an individual. Not every person is capable of setting a goal in life that has nothing to do with his biological needs, whereas in order to be fully satisfied with life, one should set great idealistic goals and strive to achieve them. Well, it is clear that any animal that thinks within the framework of food, a female, territory, is in principle incapable of setting such a goal. To eat, sleep, fuck 4 cattle, this is the ultimate dream. Well, then, we are not talking about them, not about dung worms, which a real person should use as a tool, like the same cattle, to accomplish great things. We are talking about those people who want to live their lives brightly, with meaning, who want to achieve something in it that not every mortal is capable of achieving. This is where money can contribute very well. It can free up time for you to think about the meaning of your life and what goal you are pursuing when you breathe air and eat food to support your mortal body in a viable state. But you must agree, without money, it is also quite possible to realize yourself. Yes, you will have to spend more time and effort to earn money for bread, but at the same time, a person will still have the opportunity to achieve something great. And as he achieves his goals, he can also improve his financial situation well. After all, an active and purposeful person has an order of magnitude more chances to achieve in life, including financial success, than a lazy mediocrity. Money, they do not fall from the sky either, you need to know how to get it. In general, if you want to live well and with meaning, then money in large quantities will certainly not hurt you. You can even say that you need it for this purpose. But you should not place too much hope on it either. Remember that money is a conditional value, and any conditions can change at any moment. Today, money is a value, and tomorrow, it is trash. The greatest value for you in this life is yourself, your knowledge and skills. Money can give you a lot, but in order to have money itself, you need to be an advanced person, able to live according to the rules, norms, and laws in force in this world, both open and unspoken.